Next, we're gonna talk a little bit more about listing. We're gonna have Sandra come up. She's actually, she was on the panel earlier. She's gonna talk about how you can become a luxury agent in a very short time. I mean, she's been in the business a long time, but within a few years, she has expanded her business and in a big way. So I want to give the floor to Sandra. Give her a hand. Okay.
All right. Where did Simon go? Oh, Simon, there he is.
Yes, I'm right here.
I just wanted to take a quick second. I don't hear myself, so. A quick second. I just wanted to thank Simon for putting this together. Last night we were out to dinner with a few people, and I said this. I was at this event 2 years ago, and it was one of the most impactful events that I've been at from a real estate perspective. So I just wanted to say a quick thank you for putting this together, not just for me, but for all of you, because I think this is an amazing opportunity. And guys, for me, it wasn't all about the content. It was also about the people, the relationships that I made 2 years ago. I'm still in contact with a lot of them, over the last 2 years. And coming here, it just brings back all those memories from 2 years ago and all the relationships that we've built over that time. So don't walk away from here today without making a new friend or a new connection with somebody. All right, so I'm going to just press the button. Press the button. All right, so we're going to talk about how I built a big luxury business. You've heard a lot of people here talk about what they're doing today and what's working today and the strategies that they're using. I'm going to actually take a walk back in time and walk you through from day one. So it's a little different experience, and bear with me. We'll get to today, and you'll see the whole story unfold. Click through those. One thing I didn't mention earlier is how much we sell. Last year we closed $138 million, $3.8 million in commission income. Thank you. We're on goal to exceed that by just a little bit this year. And again, I started 15 years ago, Fort Lauderdale, West Palm Beach, and Miami. So our luxury history. My first 10 years in business, we sold one luxury property a year. One. Some years it was none, and some years it was two, but on average it was one per year. And so every time I would get that one sale, it would be a little party. We would celebrate, yay, we got $1 million sale. This is it, this is the one. And inevitably it would be a whole nother year before we saw another one. So 10 years of being, I'm going to say, at the average price point and not getting into that upper echelon. 2020, we sold 9 luxury homes. 2021, we sold 24. 2022, up to 28. And then last year, we hit 45. So, like I said, I'm going to start at the very beginning. But I already said that. Okay, so when I first started, when you first started real estate, did somebody hand you a playbook and tell you what to do? No, nobody does. So I started, and I, just like you, I had no idea what to do. So of course, like all agents, we try everything. We try cold calling. Trulia, is that even a thing anymore? I don't know. I used to answer questions on Trulia. I would carry a thing of mace in my pocket because I was taking people out to see foreclosure properties with squatters living in them. You name it, I did it. Nothing was beneath me. I would do it all. I was writing contracts on the hood of my car. So what did that get me? That got me stressed out, missing my kids who were at home, and they were like 7, 5, and 4 at the time. So those are hard years to be missing your kids. Spending money on wasted gas. I didn't have my Tesla yet. I got hung up on a lot. And what didn't that get me? It didn't get me a paycheck. So I thought to myself, I came from corporate America. I was an auditor for Pricewaterhouse, and I said to myself, what was it that made me so successful at those jobs, and I'm just really stinking at this job so far? And I was determined. I said, I am not going to fail. I'm not going to be that, the 75% that fails out in the first year. So I really sat down and I thought about my corporate jobs and what is it that made me successful there? So first it was a repeatable process. I was mostly in accounting. I was an auditor, an accountant, and then I was also in marketing for a little while. And the one thing that I realized is that everything that we did in corporate America, it had a pattern. It had a repeatable process. In real estate, how many repeatable processes do we have? But you don't get the playbook for that, right? You don't know what that is, and you start and you're just chasing. You're chasing whatever's happening. Also, in corporate America, we had procedures and processes. Everything was documented. You walk into a new job in a big corporation and they hand you the book. And then you turn, each day you come in and you look at the book. And you became an expert in one area rather than over everything. So when I'm working at Caterpillar, I'm not running the whole company. I'm not doing marketing and accounting and finance. I'm not doing all the things. I'm being a specialist in one area. So I said to myself, how can I put this into real estate? And that led me to decide to try farming. Now, I always like to look around when I say that word because I see the eyes rolling. I see people like, oh, not farming. I'm going to try to change your mind on farming today. So farming is a repeatable process, just like my accounting job was. We do the same things month after month after month, and we do it on the same day of the month, and we repeat the process. It eliminates the guesswork, so we know what we're supposed to be doing. Who wakes up some days and says, I just don't even know what I should do today. I don't know where I should go and get my next piece of business. Does that ever happen to any of you? It's frustrating. I became an expert in one area, so I did geographic farming. But keep in mind that everything that I'm going to talk about, you could do in a different type of farming. You could do it for networking, you could do it for social media, you could do it for digitally, you could do it for maybe a group that you're part of. So it's the concept that you can take and do in different parts of your life. And then people come to us instead of us going to them. Creating a process where people are calling us and we are not having to go out and find them. That is a beautiful thing. And lastly, it's a relationship business. So not only does it bring the money in and the people in, it feeds your soul because you develop relationships with people that you can nurture for years and years. I have people that I met 10 years ago that still haven't transacted, but we're still in touch, we're still nurturing the relationship, and there's always things that happen along the way, referrals, lots of different things come from that. So the core of my farming is a newsletter. And again, remember, we're back in 2010 right now. This is me starting the business. And I moved to Florida from Illinois. I knew nobody. I didn't have very many friends. My kids were little. I had no family. So I'm starting from scratch. I'm not somebody who had a family member that was doing real estate. It was from the ground up. So I started writing this newsletter. I wrote this myself for the last 15 years. When I first started, it was black and white. I would go to my office at 3 o'clock in the morning and print it because I couldn't do it during the day because all the agents would be mad at me. They'd all be yelling at me, who's on the printer? So I would do this at night, and then I would take big boxes with me to my kids' sporting events and fold them, so that I could hand deliver them to 1,850 homes each month. Yeah, so I did this, I started doing this, and my kids would do it with me sometimes. They were little, we had a few episodes, we got bit by a dog once, we had a lot of bloody knees because we would rollerblade around the neighborhood. We were all in great shape. I miss that. And then as we, I didn't have any money back then, so that's why we were hand delivering it, printing it in the office. And then about 5 years in, the neighborhood said, "You can't do that anymore." I said, thank you. And then we started mailing it. But to this day, this newsletter has gone out every single month for 15 years, except for 1 month. And that month was because Hurricane Irma shut down the presses. But otherwise, it's gone out every month. So what's in the newsletter? It's very personal. It's not written up here. It's not written like a journalist. It's written from my perspective. There's articles about, I bought a place in Colorado, and this is what we do. We went to this restaurant, and there's pictures of me, there's pictures of my family, pictures of my team. It's very personal, so people are getting to know me. We talked a lot earlier about relationships. This is creating a relationship with people, even though they've never met me. They think they know me. They think that they've met me before, but they have not. So in addition to the newsletter, I also do postcards. These go out like once a quarter. If we've got a lot of business, they may not go out, but every half year. If we don't have a lot of business, they're going to go out more often. So these are just kind of fillers that we throw out there depending on what's going on in the world. Next, we do drop-offs. I think we heard a couple people talk about, surprise and delights and little gifts. We love drop-offs. We will do probably 200, 250 for each holiday. We'll divide it up with the team, and if we've got a new agent that doesn't have anybody, we'll give them somebody, some people to drop off to. We will drop off to our buyers that purchased in our area. We'll drop off to the buyers of our listing. Super important. So in farming, we want to keep touching those people within the neighborhood. So people that bought our listings, they're going to list with us when they go to sell, and we're going to make sure, and we're going to do drop-offs. It's a great way to get their contact information. We'll knock on the door, try to do a picture with them. They love it. Their agent is long gone. Their agent took their money, ran, they never saw them again. So we adopt them. In addition to the drop-offs, we do events. I'm not a huge event person. It honestly stresses me out. It's not my thing. But we do it because we're trying to create, again, that relationship with our people. And again, it's not about the event itself. It's not about people coming to the event. It's about preparing, inviting, and giving somebody something of value so that you're not just calling, "You ready to sell? You ready to sell? Is today the day? Are you ready?" Instead, we're calling and we're saying, "Hey, come to our movie event. We have one coming up next month. We've done a few Easter and Christmas pictures." I think somebody else said that earlier today that they did that. So we have good success with that. But again, it's not about if they actually show up. It's about the offer of inviting them. And then we also are staying in touch throughout the year, whether it be to invite them to events, holidays. We love to send holiday texts, but it's not like, a lot of people will send the image that says Happy Holidays. We're sending an image, but we're also saying, "Hey, today I am gonna spend the day with my family. We're having a cookout. Are you doing anything special today?" So it's not about us just sending an image and seeming like we're sending spam. It's actually asking a question, asking them to engage with us. And you'd be surprised the amount of people that actually respond. And people who we can't get on the phone when we get the lead, we'll still send that text. And then they do respond. So it's really fun to see how the contact rate goes up. So the cool thing about farming, the thing I think that's really cool about farming is, so we started doing this. The first subdivision that we started doing it in, It makes about $500,000 in GCI, in gross commission income per year. Not bad, right? But the most important thing is that you can, once you've created this process, you can pick that process up and move it to somewhere else, right? And you can move it again, and you can move it again, and again. So again, that's what I just said. So in 2021, we expanded into a luxury neighborhood. So I'm putting up my sales again because I just want you to see the jump. Like, what year did it jump? We went up in 2021. That's when we started farming a luxury neighborhood. So we literally took the process that we had already developed in these average price point neighborhoods of, back then it was like $350, now it's probably $500. And we picked it up and we moved it to a neighborhood that was $1.2 million. And guess what? It worked just like it worked in the other neighborhoods. So we were able to just repeat the whole process. So at the same time that we were farming, we were working on a few other things. You know, we were always juggling lots of different things in real estate. So one of the things was focusing on the relationships, growing those relationships so that we would get referrals within the neighborhood. If somebody asks Frank for a referral, Frank's going to tell him to come see me. So we're working on that. Even if we're not selling anything for Frank, we're developing that relationship. We worked on our Zillow reviews. We have over 700 five-star Zillow reviews. Now I know we don't like to say the Zillow word, but what it did was it created credibility for us from both the agents across the country and the people that were looking for somebody to hire. Then, like 2 years ago, I realized that everybody was looking at Google. And I'm like, I didn't do Google. So 2 years ago, we started with the Google reviews, and we are up to 600 now, which is, it was like a miracle getting there. But the other ladies, they talked about Google reviews and how Google, organically, you get business from it. I am here to tell you that you absolutely do, and they're usually on the listing side, which is what I want. I'm always looking for the listings. And then we also grew our database of realtors from across the country. So by focusing on the relationships, we get a lot of repeat business from our past clients. I have a great example of one client 2 years ago. I had helped him buy a house in the First Farm area. He paid $500,000. He was like your average Joe. He came in with shorts and flip-flops, and he never dressed up. He was very casual, bought this house. Over the years, we did drop-off gifts. We called him, we texted him. Really, he never responded, but okay, whatever, he's busy. We keep doing it. Like, we never stop just because somebody's not responding. We keep doing it. 10 years later, he calls me and says, Sandra, I need you to help me buy a house. I'm selling my company for $200 million. Are you kidding me? So I helped him buy his house. We sold his old house. So that was like, at the time, $6 million. But it gets better. So then his dad was a co-owner in that company. Well, the son can't have a better house than the dad. So the dad has to call me. He gets referred to me. That's another $4 million in purchase. And then I have to sell his other house. So he's a $5.5 million sale. Just from staying in touch. And I swear to you, I hardly ever talked to the guy. He never picked up the phone, but I was always leaving messages, dropping off things. And that alone kept me in front of him. And he called me when it was time. By focusing on reviews, we get organic leads from people searching the internet. I was shocked at how much that actually works. When we hit about 350, the calls just started coming in, and that's where people they actually say, we found you from Googling for the top agent. I'm not paying for Google leads. I don't pay for any leads. Everything we do is organic. The only cost that I have is the newsletters. So that was pretty exciting to see that happening. We also win more listings because of it. If we get in the door and it's a competitive situation, it's very rare that somebody's going to have this many reviews. And so that really helps us come to the top of the list when they're making their decision. So anybody who's not focusing on reviews, I would encourage you to, push to get them up there. By focusing on realtors, we get a lot of business from referral partners across the globe, and that means you guys. And when I spoke here 2 years ago, I got a lot of referrals at that time. I'm in South Florida. Where do people come from to get to South Florida? Here, New York, California. So putting yourself out there and getting to know other realtors, which, when I first got in the business, my broker said, don't hang out with realtors. You need to go hang out with all the other people. Realtors are a gold mine. So always think about that, developing your referral partners. So one of the things I started doing 2 years ago, I started doing this luxury mastermind, which has been just a blast. So I interview a different, Seth, you were on it, a different top luxury agent, and Jeanette was on it as well. And it's really fun. It's a great way for me to get to know people, and agents from across the globe are joining it. It's every month, and if you scan that, you'll be able to sign up for it. It's broker agnostic. Anybody can come, anybody and everybody. One time we did a survey while we were waiting for people to jump on. We were represented 25 different states and 3 different countries just on that one call. So it's pretty cool. I forgot to bring it up here. I mentioned earlier that I was able to co-author a book with Michael LaFido. So that has been really fun. Being able to take that on listing appointments has also really helped us with credibility. And then in summary, I would say the things to really think about are provide your clients and realtors with value. So you're not just asking for the business, you're actually offering them something of value so that they want to work with you. I said it earlier, be consistent, and that is my mantra about everything, and that's why farming works for me, because it's the consistency. Developing the relationships, that will take you further than anything, is you've really got to develop those relationships, keep those people that will be your cheerleaders, and realtors as well, and just don't be afraid. You can do it. If I could go from where I was to where I am now, everybody can do it. And then here's just a couple of QR codes. If you leave me a Google review, I'll send you a free a code to get a free copy of the book. And then I have a whole list of farming things that I can send you guys if you're interested in that. And lastly, if you want to register for my luxury Zoom. And that's it. That's all I got. Thank you.
I'm just giving QR code 1 second.